All right, time to drive on public roads the 500 horsepower, 1,200 pound-feet of torque, high output Power Stroke diesel, 6.7 liter diesel. I'm in a brand new 2023 Ford Super Duty. Believe this one is an F350 Lariat. And we've got a lot of big screens and a lot of buttons, but I'm just curious to see how it feels to drive. So let's do it. I have a big screen for the instrument cluster. I have an even bigger screen for the center console, and I have just as big of a screen for the head-up display. The head-up display is massive, and it's super easy to read, super clear, and in full color. So that is noticeable right away. Also, this being a Super Duty truck, I have a commanding view of the road, certainly. But yeah, otherwise, it feels pretty darn well behaved and refined, considering everything. All right, go ahead and floor it. Oh, man. Wow. You don't get like some huge thrust back into the seat right away, but you get this just like omnipresent pull from this thing that is like unrelenting power, just kind of surging you forward. Wow. When you don't have weight hitched to this thing, man, yeah, that is a lot of power. Oh, we got a quick passing opportunity coming up. Here we go. Man, that makes short work. That was a full-size semi-truck we passed there, and that made very, very short work of it. Wow. Just going down the road, the suspension feels shockingly supple. This is way more comfortable than I would expect from a truck that can have this much payload and this much towing capacity. So that part is truly impressive. This being the most powerful of the 4 engines offered, also ironically enough, the smallest. This is, 6.7 liters, where the gasoline engine, the base gasoline engine, is 6.8 liters. But, obviously you get a difference when you go from gasoline power to diesel power. So just there, the road got a little bit more undulated, a little bit bumpier, and you could definitely feel those bumps. But it wasn't uncomfortable, and it wasn't jarring, but you could feel the bouncing around a bit more. So clearly this is on the stiff side. This is a massive change compared to an F-150, and certainly, a car. But I still find it entirely tolerable. And I'm actually pretty surprised at how quiet this diesel engine is staying, considering the numbers. Now, I actually got a chance to tow with the Power Stroke diesel, and I towed a very, very healthy amount. 40,000 pounds I towed with that thing, and wow, it was stressed. You could tell that engine had to work in those conditions, but it managed it, and that in of itself was pretty darn impressive. So now that I get a chance to try this engine out without the load, it's actually impressive how well behaved it is. The more refined side of it comes out, and you can see that we've gone a long way since clattering diesels of decades ago. This being a Lariat trim, I do have a comfortable amount of options here. I have a heated steering wheel, I have a heated seat, I have cooled seats, obviously climate control, dual zone climate control, and I have 3 different levels for that, even low, medium, and high. And I do have different options of views for the instrument cluster as well, what gauges I'm looking at, general measurements, diesel measurements, auxiliary gauges, temperature gauges. Oh boy, I mean, the lists just go on and on. It's kind of fun. All right, so let's go to diesel measurements. How much turbo boost I'm making. Oh, here's an interesting one, your DEF level. That's good to have that being reported to you. If I just do a quick burst of power here, there's some traffic, so I can't do it from long, but just curious what turbo boost pops up to. I see 30 pounds of boost just from that quick little jaunt right there. So yeah, you got a lot of boost here. This engine deals with a lot of power and a lot of specific heat in certain places. So how Ford uses all these different cooling systems to manage that engine is quite important. The truck on its own, there is plenty of space in here. Obviously, I have plenty of shoulder room. I have some headroom, not a ton, but I also have this big glass roof here as well. but I do have headroom. I have lots of adjustments in the seats, and I can lower the seat. So now I have, you know, a good 2 inches of headroom and adjustable, electrically adjustable tilt and telescoping and steering right here. So plenty of ways to get comfortable. So here it is, the 2023 Ford Super Duty. This one in particular is an F350 Lariat, but it has the most powerful engine you can get, the high output 6.7 liter Power Stroke turbo diesel. It is a healthy engine. You also have lots of steps to the bed, both there, and it's a good thing because I'm 5'11", and you can see that it is basically to my shoulder, the top of the pickup bed. This is not a small vehicle. None of these are small, but look at that. Look how much farther back I have to walk than usual to get to the full length of this thing in profile. I'll go ahead and put the dimensions up on the screen so you can see that, and do what I can to not get rained on too much. As you can see, it's got big, clean, squared off looks. There is the pickup bed, and here is the soft opening tailgate. As I briefly mentioned, there is plenty of space in the second row. It's also very high, but there's a nice running board to use. I am 5'11" or 181 centimeters tall, and I have plenty of legroom. Also, the seat bottoms are plenty high, so I have good thigh support. I do have headroom, but only just because we do have this panoramic moonroof back here, and that does limit headspace a bit, but I do still have headroom. Plenty of shoulder room and all that. I do also have well under a 90-degree bend in my knees. Also, there's some luxuries back here. Look at this. Heated seats for the outbound passengers. USB ports. AC power down here. And a 12-volt port next to that. So, yeah, you have some plug-in options right there. And of course, I do have an armrest with cup holders. Hey. But let me quickly step out of the truck and show you something else about the back seat. All you have to do is lift the seat bottom, and this articulates up as you do, and you have this nice storage right here, and it also offers more space if you want to fit something taller in the second row instead of people. So it's really nice and easy to get to this storage, and to unlock it, you just pull on this tab here, and it folds right back down. Now, we are far from the top trim here, and yet we have a lot of technology here. Usual controls on the door. You do have 3-position seat memory. You do also have a lot of adjustments to the seat here, including lumbar support. Lots of controls to the left of the steering wheel, and electronically adjusting tilt and telescoping steering. But perhaps the highlight are all these screens. Look at this fully digital instrument cluster right here. That is a massive head-up display right there, and this big center console touchscreen right here. Push button start.
Obey traffic laws. Be alert and use voice commands while driving.
And here is the instrument cluster all lit up. But of course, that is not the end here, because I have all these different menus. I have this adjustment right here. So there's lots of controls on the steering, cruise control, volume, but all these controls here, look at this. My view, trip and fuel, head-up display. This is a good time to mention. So we have head-up display adjustments. Look at this massive head-up display right here. Even through the video camera, I can see just how big it is. Well, you have a lot of adjustments to it right there. You can also adjust gauges. You can have general measurements, diesel measurements, auxiliary gauges, temperature gauges, diesel measurements. Those are important to have if you have the high output turbo diesel. You want to know how you're making your 1,200 pound-feet of torque. So yeah, super interesting instrument cluster right here. And then going to the main cluster right here, it's an obviously massive screen, easy to see, and we've got tons of camera views we can look at. You can see here all the different options for the camera views we have here. 360 degree front view. This is 3 views, so side, front, side, and pickup bed, behind the bed, the trailer hitch view, the rear sides. There's just so much to choose from. That's just camera. You can also turn on and off the engine brake when you have the turbo diesel right here. So that makes a big difference in how much you need to brake. That's super helpful when it comes to towing. We do have dual zone climate control. We also have heated steering wheel, heated seats, and ventilated seats. Have a lot of controls here. We have some stereo controls right below that. We do also, of course, have lots of drive modes. Of course, it is a 2-speed transfer case, so 2 high, 4 high, 4 low. But also with the drive mode dial, normal, slippery roads, off-road, but also you can go tow haul or eco. So healthy amount of drive roads in this thing. Now I get to experience this truck in a lot of different ways, and I'm going to try different drive modes out, but not always in this truck. So in this video I'll show you some different things, and in other videos tied to the Ford Super Duty I'll show you even more. But what's amazing to me is not just the technology and the capability in these trucks, but the luxury too. It's all very lovely. All right, whew, let's get back to this drive. Now, this is not the most common way I get to get in new vehicles, and it's actually been really interesting because Ford set up several different demonstrations of new capabilities of this truck. We got to see new features that really emphasize new technologies in this truck. So it's not about new powertrains and things like that as much as it's about new technologies and new ways to make doing work in a truck, especially a heavy-duty truck like this one, making that work easier to do, easier to manage, harder to get wrong, you know, dummy proofing to a certain extent. And those different demonstrations were really fascinating, and I want to go ahead and show you some of those right now. So check those out and see what these new technologies are in the new Ford Super Duty. So this is Pro Trailer Hitch Assist, and it's taking all the cameras that people have installed on their trucks to another level, combining it with ADAS to give you a hands-free, foot-free way to hitch your trailer.
Now it's asking me to press and hold the Pro Trailer button to start, so I'm pressing and holding. Asking me to release the pedals and steering wheel, so now my foot's off, hands off. The automatic maneuver has begun. It's automatically controlling the braking, steering, and throttle. So now that it's aligned, it's asking me to continue to hold it as it's applying the park brake. And now, now that the park brake is applied, it's asking me to shift to park. If I can shift to park, we can go check out the alignment.
Okay, thank you very much.
Let's take a look at Smart Hitch and see what it tells us. So here, you know, 12,000 pound trailer, you know, we got a full cab.
We're below 10%.
Yeah, so the load is actually biased to the back of the trailer. On the Platinum Unlimited, if you hit the tail lamp button, the LED lights will actually give you real-time feedback of where you stand.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So when we're back there moving our load, you'll see the bottom light flashing if you're too far back, the top light flashing if you're too far forward, and then the middle two remain solid without any flashing, indicating where you need to be. Here you can see the bottom lights are flashing, showing us that the skid steer, or our load in this case, is too far back. See, now we're right where we need to be. We're where the trailer should be loaded, so we're solid too, no flashing lights. We're in the green, maybe higher. You know, you might have a preference where you be, but you're in a better loaded spot.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm inside the truck for another new feature. This is called Pro Trailer Backup Assist.
So you just go into reverse, gives you the green. When you don't do anything, it will just keep your trailer straight. Now I want it to go to the left in the view, so I just turn it to the left.
Interesting. So you are guiding it some. It's not fully automated.
Correct.
But as opposed to you having to know which way to steer to get the trailer to rotate correctly, it does all that automatically.
Correct.
So you're effectively steering with that right
Yes.
there.
Correct. I'll know exactly where to stop. And I'm open.
Wow, super interesting. Thank you so much. That's an interesting demonstration. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What I want to show you today is our tailgate topper and our onboard scale system. So I'm going to drop my tailgate here, and you're going to see that it switches the camera views from the back to the top. So I will now back up. And you can see with the 360 camera view, which is also new for the 23 model year, is that you have that.
So even when the tailgate's down, you have that and that.
Yep, exactly. Before this was just blacked out. But like I said, I want to show you now the onboard scales part of it. You can see now we're green, the status has changed. That LED is no longer flashing. And again, you can see how close I was able to get to the actual loading dock without hitting it, not damaging my tailgate.
So we're turning on Pro Power Onboard now, and it's just this button right here. And we're saying, yes, we understand. And now it lets us know that the generator's on. We can use power and back. So right here, those are 2 kilowatt outlets right here.
This is our tailgate step. You just press into this middle button, tailgate step drops down. This is 3 inches closer to the ground than our prior model year. It's to make it much easier to get in and out of the truck bed. You can pull up this handle, again, great for safety, and easily pop into the truck, and then pop down.
All right, fantastic. Yeah, super interesting the way things have been set up. It's less about how does the car feel to drive and the things inside the truck. It's more about what are all the different ways we can make doing work in a truck easier. And I find that really fascinating and, to be honest, practically smart as well. What do I think of this truck? Well, I mean, I think it's very comfortable, very spacious, and, you know, actually pretty darn pleasant to drive as well. But it's also massive. This is a very, very physically big thing. And I don't think that I would personally want something quite so big in my daily life. But if you're the type of person that needs a truck for work and then needs to be able to use that same truck on the weekends, man, you've got a lot of capability in here, and I think a really smart suite of new technologies to use to make that work easier. I'm Robin Warner, thank you for watching. And if you like this video, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up. Doing so helps me out a lot, and I'd really appreciate it. And if you're interested in trucks, but maybe something a little smaller, you should definitely check out my video on the new 3rd generation GMC Canyon. That is much, much smaller than this. And definitely has less power and capability as a comparison, but it's got a few tricks of its own up its sleeve and definitely worth checking out. And from there, I reviewed a whole bunch of stuff by now. Something's gonna pop up on the screen next to me. Hopefully it's something you're interested in. And if you do end up watching it, I definitely hope you like it. Okay, goodbye for now.